If you are a big fan of the swinging sounds of the 40s and 50s, then Monday, April 13th is going to be an amazing night in Harwich. The unparalleled Tommy Dorsey Orchestra is bringing decades of musical history to the Harwich Cultural Center for a 4 o'clock matinee and a 7 o'clock evening show. Not only are you going to hear those impressive big band arrangements, but they're bringing along Hayden Grove, a guy who recently made waves on NBC's The Voice. Joining us today to give us a preview of what to expect is the music director and lead trombonist for the orchestra. That would be Jeff Bush. Jeff, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Oh, good morning, John. It's my pleasure, and looking forward to speaking with you about our upcoming performance in Harwich.
We are thrilled. The buzz has been, since this show was announced several months ago, the buzz has been there for this because there's something about the sound of a swing band. Can you kind of speak to that, about how that sound and that particular era is just such an amazing draw for people?
You know, I'd love to find that answer for myself personally, because I've been attracted to this music my entire life. Since the very first time I started hearing the big bands, when I was in middle school, as my grandparents were of the big band era. But there's something about it. It's classic. It's great American music. This is our American orchestra. And it's just an exciting thing to be around. It's an exciting show. It's exciting to see it and experience it live. And that's what we try and bring to every performance.
And it's interesting. I think we're of the same era that my father was a huge fan. And he made sure that he had a record player. We always had a big kitchen in the houses where we were in. That was the main focus, and everybody was there. And he always had a record player in the kitchen near the table that he could play. And there were always those songs that I listened to growing up. It was just such a part of his life and became a part of my life as I was growing up.
Sure.
And learned to appreciate all the separate instruments that brought these bands and orchestras together. It is quite a sound. Now, for our listeners who may be experiencing a live band such as yours, what kind of energy does that size orchestra bring to the room?
It's almost indescribable, I think, when you hear it at first. When you see all those instruments and you feel that energy coming off of 17 musicians on the bandstand. It's probably not something that they experience every day, so they should be excited. They're going to be entertained. They're going to hear some great sounds, and just to have a great time. We keep a fast-paced show with a lot of great music. You'll hear all of the big hits that Tommy Dorsey, of course, made favorite. We have a couple of new arrangements of his classic things, and also a couple of things that we have added that we think that might have fit well in the Dorsey library should his career have gone on past 1956.
Oh, that's exciting to hear that there are new arrangements.
Absolutely. I do a lot of the writing, and I keep it in the Dorsey style, and it's a lot of fun. So you'll hear a few for sure on Monday the 13th in Harwich. And
you joined the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra about 25 years ago or so?
Yeah, it's 26, if I remember correctly, in Fort Lauderdale. I joined when the great Buddy Morrow was the leader, and it was a great experience to work under him. And to say that I learned a lot is an understatement. Buddy was a role model. He's a mentor. And Buddy was important because he worked with some of the original swing bands. You know, he was on the bands of Artie Shaw, which, of course, out of Boston. That's about that's close to where you are right now. That's where the Artie Shaw band came from. And both Dorsey brothers and, Paul Whiteman, Benny Goodman. But Buddy was a great band leader in his own right. So to work for him and learn from him was just a wonderful experience. It really was.
And being music director, it's more than just waving a baton, a lot more responsibilities. What did you think you learned the most important thing about leading a band from Buddy Morrow?
Well, there's definitely, I guess, the best way to explain this is there's, you have to have a little bit of, for lack of a better term, executive type of experience or quality, because there are a lot of behind-the-scenes details that need to be taken care of. Making sure everybody's in the right place at the right time, wearing the right thing, making the music correct. Because I do a lot of this work. We're fortunate. We have a great team. We have some management, and we have people who are who've been in this business for a long time. So I'm fortunate that I'm part of a great team. So it's not just me. But on each individual date, I do have a lot of responsibility, and I work really hard. I want to make this right. At this point in my life, I want to make the music right. I want to make the experience for the audience right. I want to make the experience for the musicians right. I want to make it as great as possible. So I do work hard, and I'm very proud of our band. So I think that shows in our performances as well.
And you've got to have your left brain and right brain working at the same time. It's
Probably
not easy.
so, and if there's a middle brain and front and rear brain, yeah, you do. But when I get to the bandstand, it's all worth it, because it's just a joyous experience to bring this music. And when I get to talk to the audience afterwards, I'll hear, like you were describing with your father. We get this thing, and I call it double nostalgia. So I'll hear a lot of people say, hey, this was my parents' music, and they're no longer with us, so they get the memory of mom and dad, but they also get a memory of the music that they grew up with. And every once in a while we'll get someone from the greatest generation who this was their music, and that's a real treat to have those folks here. There's still a handful of World War II veterans that'll come out, and it's a real honor to present this music to them. And of course, when we have young people who are experiencing this for the first time, we'll get middle school kids, we'll get high school kids, and it's so important for them to hear this music. So it's all absolutely worth it to me to do this.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There are a lot of emotions and a lot of memories that bubble forth when they hear this music, and it just is. It can be such a thrill for people when they hear this. And I also, going back to the when you talk about middle schoolers hearing this for the first time, I can remember when my kids started to play music back in, they got their instruments in 5th grade and then played through middle school into high school and beyond. And when they heard certain pieces for the first time, boy, did their eyes just pop right out of their heads. Like, what is this? Yeah. I can do this with that?
Absolutely. It's amazing what that does to the brain of a young person when they're when they're around that, and when they experience that, and when they work on music. I can remember I heard Buddy Morrow and the Tommy Dorsey Band when I was in about 9th grade, and I had no idea the trombone could do what Buddy was doing that night. Notes I had never heard, emotions. I also heard at a very young age the great Count Basie Orchestra when it was led by Frank Foster, and I was like, what is going on with this? I had no idea. So I know what that did for me as a young musician. So anytime we play these concerts and we have young people, I feel like there's a duty on my shoulders to present that type of show, because you never know who you're going to impact out there. So
right,
it's really that important to us.
Now, playing 2 shows in one day, that's quite a workout. How do you guys pace yourselves to get through all that?
We'll do 2. I believe this one is 2 90-minute shows, so we don't do an intermission. So the musicians that we have, they're there because they want to play this music. So, we'll be smart with our pacing, but I don't think anyone's going to know that this is the end of the second show. We're going to still have that energy. It's funny, you just get an energy, and it's time to go. It's time to perform. So after the show, we'll relax, maybe with a beverage, and talk about the gig, and it'll be wonderful. So
now, you're a trombonist, right?
Yes, sir.
Just like Tommy Dorsey, and does playing that instrument give you a deeper, more personal connection to his original vision for the band?
Well, Tommy Dorsey was he was like a trendsetter on the trombone. He took it from like for lack of a better term, to like a blatting type of sounding instrument to this beautiful sound, almost like a female voice. So he was a trendsetter. So that sound is always in my ear. But his band was so good from get-go to when he passed in 1956. So I keep that sound in my head. Like if we haven't worked in a couple of weeks, I'll put on some of his records from the 50s and listen to them and make sure I have that sound of that band in my head. But yeah, I try not to think about that too much, because frankly, that's a lot to think about, that you're in Tommy Dorsey's shoes. So if you'll notice, I start our theme song when they're still announcing the band, so I don't get too inside my head, So that's kind of my little secret right there. Yeah,
that's amazing. And there are so many songs to choose from. How do you come up with the set list? I mean, it must be difficult to choose and leave one out, and you'd want to be there all day and all night playing.
It's the hardest part of the job. And we'll have people say, oh, I wish you would have played Stardust. I wish you would have played I'll Be Seeing You. I wish you would have played this. I mean, we could go up and do 5-6 hours. So I do change the set list, nightly. And I look for audience reaction to each individual song and how that goes. So that part's challenging, but there are certain songs I think we have to play every night, because we certainly wouldn't want to disappoint that audience. They're going to want to hear Opus 1, right, Song of India, Marie, those chestnuts, and it's great music. So I'm really happy to do it. So, but we rotate some other things, and we've pulled some things Like we'll do a song called "The Miner Goes Muggin'," which originally featured Duke Ellington with Tommy Dorsey's orchestra. So we'll pick some lesser-known things that also are quite interesting to the audience, And I try and balance the flow of the show every night with a fast song and a ballad and things of that nature.
Yeah, and I can imagine when you're up on stage and you know what's coming and you hit that first note of the next song and see the reaction of the crowd. That must, first of all, you're getting goosebumps from playing that song, and then second, just to see that reaction, which is what you were looking for from the audience, must be so rewarding.
It's extremely rewarding. It's extremely satisfying, and it's a great honor. And I love speaking to the people after the show. All of that, it's just very deep satisfaction, I must say. Yeah.
And you're bringing along Hayden Grove, a little bit of a Sinatra feel.
Yeah, Hayden was brought to my attention here not that long ago. And we tried him out on a few dates, and this is his official debut, this run of dates. He's a wonderful young man and spent some time on, season 27 on The Voice, and he was under the tutelage of the great Michael Bublé. And he's a great young singer, and that's always kind of been the tradition of the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra. Tommy's had a great young singer, and we continue that, and Hayden knew some of that repertoire, and he's also learning some new things, and he also brings his own flavor, and he's got a great stage presence, so we're really happy to have him working with us, for sure.
That's wonderful. For anyone listening right now who might be on the fence about grabbing a ticket, is there one song on the set list that guarantees that they're going to get blown away?
Boy, that's. I like to think each song on the set list is going to get them blown away. But I love our theme song, and then we go right into Opus 1 most nights, and sometimes we'll play our closer when the Saints go marching in. It features our Clambake 7 is a great one, and we play some things. It's amazing, we play some things from the repertoire that came after Tommy passed, like when the band was led by Warren Covington, we do the T for Two Cha-Cha, and I'm always amazed how many people love the sound of the Cha-Cha, which that was a big hit record in 1958. We still do Buddy Morrow's Night Train from the 50s, which, Buddy had the band a longer time than Tommy, so people love those songs too, and I like to joke with folks that they might remember that from the days of burlesque, and I can't tell you how many people have come up and said, I used to hear that, in the clubs, and they might explain a little bit more in detail, which I will not on the air right now. So, yeah.
Isn't that song in Back to the Future as well? Aren't they playing that up on stage before Marty McFly goes out?
I think you're right. I think you're correct, yeah.
I don't think it's Buddy's arrangement, but I believe it's that song.
I'll have to remember that too when I set up the tune on the next performance. That I think you're right.
That's funny. Well, Jeff, it's been an absolute pleasure for everyone listening. You do not want to miss this incredible orchestra live and in person. Your feet are going to be tapping along. It is something that is just really going to bring the emotions out, along with the vocal talents of Hayden Grove, the legendary Tommy Dorsey Orchestra, playing the Harwich Cultural Center. It's going to be April 13th. You've got two chances to see them. There's 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock, and people can go online to 204sisson.com to get their tickets, but they got to hurry. They are going fast. Jeff Bush, music director, safe travels on the road, and we can't wait to see you here on the Cape.
Thank you, John. It's been a pleasure spending this time with you this morning. Appreciate the opportunity.